trying to navigate my way past my mic so I can see it. There we go. Awesome.
Hello and welcome back to the Laboratory Maniacs. I'm Cameron and today I'm joined by Dan again. And we are coming back to the Inalla deck that we brewed up from the ground from the pre-con to $500. Now we're going to be pushing it up to, what was that number, Dan?
We're going to be looking at hitting an $800 budget, a $1,500 budget, and then pushing it all the way up to max power with a budgetless list to cap off this video.
Sounds good. So we have our existing $500 Inalla Reanimator deck. We're just going to copy that and let Tappedout do its thing, and we'll push this up to 800. And a nice thing with Tappedout, if you haven't used it, you can add anybody on your friends list really easily to let them edit it and view it. Big thing that we hit last time is we found that we had about $180 hit, 160, 180 hit the core of the deck. That got us the Reanimator, that got us some cheap interaction, that got us a bunch of cantrips, it got our enablers, it got our reanimation targets, and got us some entry-level artifact ramp. Is there a specific spot where you normally start when you're making the jump between 500 to 800? Is it the land base? Is it interaction? What do you look at?
So honestly, it is incredibly small. The changes between this $500 and the $800 list we're going to have is going to be like 4 cards. And they are very likely going to be Mox Diamond plus a couple of fetches.
Okay.
Like, just so we made a pretty solid mana base with between the lands and between the ramp at $500. The jump between 500 and 800 is actually like pretty small, just because the ones that we have omitted are 3-4 times as expensive.
True. Yeah.
So going from $30 to $500 is pretty huge. Going from $500 to $800 honestly does not take much.
Makes sense. So my guess is we are probably going to be trying to aim at a Scalding Tarn, maybe a Badlands.
Badlands probably not.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at budget mana bases, I actually just look to straight out flush the fetch lands, words are hard. Get all fetch lands in deck.
Okay.
Before I start moving on to the original duels, just because being able to preferentially fetch either shocks or basics is more powerful than just like having a barely better blood crypt. And as we mentioned in the last video, this isn't a deck where your life total is critical. So while in an ad nauseum deck, the difference between a blood crypt and a badlands is a card on ad nauseum. In this deck, it's basically nothing. So I'd rather get better mana control with fetch lands and better mana ramp with Mox Diamond than having slightly more life efficient lines like fetch duel as opposed to fetch shock.
Okay. All right. So if we're putting in a Mox Diamond, we're going to be cutting it from an artifact, or we can cut it like a talisman. Is that our first probable target?
No, actually, I'm thinking those talismans are going to be in there all the way up until budgetless.
Okay.
We are at 31 lands currently.
Mm-hmm.
I think we can cut a swamp.
Okay.
For a Mox Diamond.
Okay, and then the fetches that we have yet to get in here are going to be Scalding Tarn.
Scalding Tarn and Misty Rainforest are my first 2 priorities. Oh, we did.
Yes,
right.
we did.
Scalding Tarn, Marsh Flats, and Arid Mesa, I believe. Oh, no, sorry. Scalding Tarn, Verdant Catacombs.
and marsh flats.
Marsh flats are going to be the 3 priorities.
All right. So let's just put those in and see where they're at. So Scalding Tarn, Marsh Flats, and Verdant Catacombs, and Mox Diamond. Save this guy, and we're going to be a little up on the cards, but cost-wise, we're still only at 716. So we've got a little bit of space to go.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping.
And we've got to chop 3 things.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and cut...
An island?
Yeah, an island, and...
I'm thinking maybe a Painland.
Yeah, I believe Steam Vents, or not Steam Vents, Shivan Reef.
Shivan Reef, the red, red blue.
Yeah, let's go ahead and cut an island and Shivan Reef.
And let's see where that puts us.
And
I think we need one more card.
One more cut. That puts us at 31. Let's actually just cut the mountain. We don't need that.
The One of Mountain. So it's an interesting conversation with the One of Mountain. I know some people have said there's no reason to run a single mountain because if you ever get Blood Mooned, you're always going to have red. I personally prefer the One of Mountain just in case Back to Basics comes out and you've got something for it. But I'm okay just starting here. It's going to be more of a meta decision whether you'd want to keep that or not. If you're expecting to see Back to Basics on a regular basis, then be something to consider. At that point, it might be maybe a Buddy Land if we still have those in here.
Yeah, there is one. And the only reason I don't care too much about cutting the mountain from this particular build, so normally having basic fetch targets for your off-color fetches is important in budget builds, but because we're not adding Arid Mesa, because that card sucks, Wooded Foothills is our only entirely red fetch. So if we can't hit a Blood Crypt or the Steam Vents off it, it's probably not making useful mana, and having 2 fetch targets for only one of our single worst fetches isn't a huge deal to me. So I think it's fine to cut the mountain in that sense.
Okay. That's entirely understandable. Okay.
So that brings us to 714 and 100 cards. Awesome. Yes. So we've got a little bit better ramp, and this ramp package is actually basically where the budgetless ramp package is going to be. So we're not honestly going to be looking at that too much more.
The one that kind of sticks out to me that I may just be a little biased against is I don't necessarily think Rakdos Signet is required, but I'm okay leaving it in the deck.
For now, so it helps cast Fire Covenant and it helps cast Rakdos Charm and Terminate. While we still have Terminate and Rakdos Charm in the deck, I think it's fine to leave in.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Both of those cards that'll eventually fall out, let's say. But then the Rakdos Signet can probably come out for like a Mana Vault or something.
Yeah, that seems entirely reasonable.
We're at 30 lands, and we have
we're at
another $85 to work with. Sweet.
Is this a place where we look at like a Flusterstorm?
Yeah, that was actually the card I was thinking of next. Flusterstorm and Pact of Negation. We may have enough funds. I forget exactly where Flusterstorm is right now.
And I think we'd probably be looking at Flusterstorm instead of Dispel, just straight up. Pact of Negation?
I think Prohibit is what comes out first.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
So let's add those in and cut Prohibit and see if our budget can accommodate both of them.
All right, so Pact of Negation and Flusterstorm. And that's 843 with Pact at 33. And
Pact is 33?
Flusterstorm at 95.
Oh my
So my guess is that we're going to drop Prohibit. We probably want to drop Flusterstorm here, keep Pact, and find something else for another $60.
Actually, Add Force of Will. I think that's actually cheaper than Flusterstorm now. I think
Really?
Force of Will's
Is
like
it?
$50. That's ridiculous. $100 for Flusterstorm?
Force of Will is 81. That puts us at 830.
Man.
So we could do Force of Will, or we could do Pact.
Drop Pact. What's our blue count again?
Pretty high. 28.
Yeah, okay, let's cut Pact. I'd rather not have to like
And that puts
randomly
us
worry
at
about.
795.
Cool. 100 cards, 795. So that's honestly that's about all I would do to call this the $800 version.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. It's kind of a little sad that it's just. I mean, we added what, like 5 cards, and we're here.
It's okay. We're about to double the budget, and that'll have the big changes. The
True.
$500 to $800 distinction isn't huge.
That's true. That is true. But it does gets us better interaction, gets us free counter spells, gets us better mana, and gets us better ramp, which Mox Diamond cannot be underrated how good it is. So we're at
People
800.
played in 24 land decks even.
Yeah. We're just gonna copy this guy. We'll call this guy 1500, and go ahead and add you in here.
Oh, good, more links. Where are they at? Here it comes. There we go. All right. So this is the kind of part that I like. This is when you really get to start adding the juicy cards, let's say.
So why don't we just put in the cards we want to add?
Yeah. First off, jumping straight into the mana base, let's finish off the fetches with Arid Mesa, I believe is the last one.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's the last one. Stick that in there and cut the Drowned Catacomb for it.
Okay.
Then we're going to jump straight over to interaction. And this is the step where the interaction gets significantly better.
All right. So what are we thinking of adding into this for interaction?
Flusterstorm and Pact of Negation are the big first 2 ones that we add.
Okay. Any others?
Given that we actually got the Force in last update, the only other one I'm going to want is Mana Drain.
Oh, yeah.
The big, juicy...
Are we going to want to look at something like Delay?
Yeah. At this stage, Delay is now a reasonable option. Delay is one of those cards where if you are fast enough to capitalize on 3 turns of suspension and just win, then it becomes a counterspell that only costs 1 and a blue. In far more budget lists, that's not a very reasonable assumption to be able to make.
True. And also, if you're countering a counterspell with Delay, it's essentially just a counterspell, because it's going to come off at their upkeep, and there's going to be actually nothing that they can counter, because the only way it'll ever be on the stack is with other upkeep triggers on the stack.
Of note, don't delay a Trick Bind if they're casting Pact of Negation.
You can't delay a Trick Bind. It has
totally
split
can
second.
delay a trick. Shut up. No one asked you.
You mean a Stifle?
That one. Stifle. Whichever. I forget that Stifle's the played one. Not played one? Neither are played.
Trick Bind's played more with Hulk now, but yeah, it's still. So we got. So
that puts us at 1138. Awesome.
Yeah, and we're like 3 cards over, I believe. 4 cards over.
Let's jam an Underground Sea in here.
Oh, baby. Go in for the big ones. Unfortunately, these guys jumped in price so much with the announcement of the Legacy GPs. We are looking...
Technically, they jumped coincidentally with the announcement of the Legacy GPs.
Yes.
Ben from Star City did have an incredibly compelling argument that it was not nepotism. And honestly, I believe him.
Yeah. So adding Underground Sea and those 4 instants puts us at 1544.
Cool.
So
let's take a look at the cuts. I believe... what are our junk counter spells left? Let's cut Mana Drain.
Cutting Mana Drain?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're adding several far better counter spells.
Mana Drain. I eat the best of
Not Mana Drain, Mana Leak.
Scaring me there.
Yeah, Mana Drain's garbage. You heard it here first.
So those are, I mean, Dispel.
Yeah, Mana Leak, Dispel. I believe we can cut Terminate.
Negate.
No, I like Negate, honestly. I'd cut Chaos Warp at this point.
Terminate and Chaos Warp. I'm okay with that. I mean, those are more expensive pieces of interaction, and if we have a good enough counter suite, we can just prevent things from hitting the table. Or we can rely on like rapid hybridization.
Yeah.
And that puts us down to 1540 and 101 cards. So we got to chop another $40 off.
We don't really have to chop another $40 off. I play a little loose with my definitions. If you're spending $750, another 40 is not a huge amount to leap. Besides, all the prices change like on a daily basis. So
this is true.
These are only ever going to be ish prices.
Yeah, I can understand that. So
we do actually need to cut another land. Let's chop.
We added Underground Sea. Are we chopping another basic island?
Let's cut Sunken Hollow. We don't. I have yet to come across a situation in a 3-color deck where I wanted a battle land when I was playing nearly budgetless.
True.
And we did just add the best blue-black dual land, so
that is true. I mean, swapping those out. Cut. I prefer having the ability to, like, if you need to put on the brakes to end a turn fetch for a duel, if it's there, but don't have to. I'm okay with that.
We do still have 2 blue-black fetchables.
Yeah, we do. That's fine. I mean, those are the 2 blue-black fetchables you expect to have anyways, so I'm okay with that. And dropping that puts us 1535. Okay.
Yep.
1500.
Which I am happy calling the 1500 price point.
That's okay. All right. So
that got us a bit better mana and way better interaction.
So the big things that we are missing right now is we've got Volcanic Island, we've got Badlands, we've got Imperial Seal. I don't know if we want to run Grim Tutor in this.
No.
I don't think so, yeah. So it's really just a few higher end tutors and lands that I think are the really big things.
One more thing.
What's that?
Are we going to run Twister Loops as our backup? Because Bloodline Necromancer is sloppy at budgetless.
So Siggy,
an excellent budget finisher.
Yeah, that is true. So Siggy pointed out that if we get Wanderwine Prophets and we can't per se kill somebody who's at infinite life, we could use Wanderwine Prophet extra turns to draw our entire deck and then cast a Time Twister. And then what was the other loop that we need? Oh,
you very slowly Windfall and Rakdos Charm to exile
their entire
decks.
libraries. And
turn by excruciating turn.
This is one that you would not do on Moto. This is definitely one that would only be shortcut in real life. But
it basically, the net result of this would be that we have to run run one bad card in like Call to Mind or some kind of regrowth effect, and we could cut we could cut Bloodline Necromancer and Ashnod's Altar, both of which at an unlimited budget are not good or even playable, really.
True.
But let's move to the budgetless version and make the other tweaks first.
That's so much money to throw at this, though. So
it's going to be a budgetless list.
True. So just straight to budgetless. Yep. Oh baby, this is where car payments go to die.
Car payments.
This is where cars. I would say, yeah, you're right.
Your Tassiger list is sitting at like $12,000.
There's no way I paid that much for it. I got lucky. That's the only thing to say. I bought collections when they were cheap, and when dual lands were $10 and $20.
Meanwhile, the rest of us peasants.
I got lucky.
With our beat up revised versions.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on like near mint betas. Near mint, slightly played.
No, they're played. They're played. Their backs are terrible. They've been shuffled.
Well, they're still betas.
Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at Volcanic Island. We're looking.
Hey, you gotta give me the link. Come on.
Oh,
now.
come on.
Don't just leave me hanging.
It's just the same thing with budgetless instead of 1,500. Here you go.
Yeah, but you have to consult with me exactly what we're cutting for those lands.
Yeah.
You don't know. You probably do know. What are we cutting for those lands?
Probably basics.
Yeah. That's yeah.
So
do you know which basics?
Probably islands. Probably an island and a swamp.
Yeah.
Actually, I personally might cut an Arid Mesa, but it's a really bad fetch for this deck. It's really just bad.
There is a conversation to be had about whether or not the like 9th or 10th, if you're playing 4-color, off-color fetches are remotely worth running. But this is neither the time nor the place for it.
True.
It is typical to see every off-color fetch that a deck is capable of running in that deck, but it is not necessarily correct.
So I've chopped an island, I've chopped a swamp, and I have added Imperial Seal. I believe that's going to dump us at 101 cards. I did not add Time Twister, but I'm going to do that now.
All right. Add Time Twister, cut Bloodline Necromancer, and Ashnod's Altar.
And then if we just do Imperial Seal and Time Twister, then we're at 100.
But
yeah,
we need to finish the loop.
Okay.
I think we can also cut. We can probably also cut Go for the Throat at this point.
So that's where we might actually want to look at things. So we've really just been doing inline replacements for better versions of the same cards, possibly more powerful effects, possibly just stronger effects overall. I mean, so swapping out a Dispel for Flusterstorm, it's a more reliable counter spell.
That also hits more.
It's true. It does hit more. So it's a stronger effect. It's a much more expensive effect. It's a 40 cent to a $95 effect. And if we look at like Imperial Seal, we're looking at a $600 Vampiric Tutor at sorcery speed. And that's a $32 instant speed effect that we go to sorcery.
It's actually like $120 because of the Judge promo.
So there's a Judge promo. That's true. But still, it's just an incredibly expensive card.
Big difference. Yeah.
And it's a worse card than Vampiric Tutor, but it's a redundant tutor. So it gives us more flexibility when we have this in our hand. Question is what do we cut for it? If we
I think we cut Corpse Dance at this point.
I'm okay with that.
Because we have more tutors, and because we have cleaner mana and better ramp, I think we can afford to get rid of some of our enablers, like Corpse Dance, and I think we can probably cut Thirst for Knowledge, too.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. So
Pulse of the
Dance.
Grid I want to keep because it's cheeky.
Oh,
and and Go for the Throat. We can probably cut Go for the Throat for Pongify.
About time to do that. And Thirst for Knowledge. So let's add this. We're going to add in Call to Mind. That one's the best version.
Is it? I keep forgetting just how bad.
It's basically, it's a 3 mana regrowth for an instant or sorcery. And there really isn't that many. There's like Relearn, which is just harder to cast.
Yeah. It's okay. We're only running one bad card. Oh, I didn't even remember. We can cut. We can cut. What am I saying? Augur of Bolas and Corpse Connoisseur if we want to at this point.
There's Sage's Knowledge. It just hits sorceries as well at 3.
Nah.
Scribe of the Mindful would be really cheeky if it was actually a wizard. I don't know if you know that one's from Amonkhet. 3 mana dude, 1 tap it, sacrifice it, return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to hand. If that was a wizard and we could use it with Inalla, I actually would kind of be behind that as a double regrowth for 4 mana. It's not, it's cleric.
Yeah, so. But it's not.
All right, so Call to Mind. We wanted to put in Pongify. What was the other stuff you were talking about while I was doing that?
Snapcaster.
Oh, snappy baby.
Because we can finally cut like Augur of Bolas and Corpse Connoisseur.
What about Bob?
Yeah, we should add him as well.
Okay.
Now, hear me out.
Yeah.
Do we play Vendilion Click?
She kind of was on my radar early. Where are we at here? Corpse Connoisseur.
Because 4 mana to like ish double Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
Like it's I don't know. But like a 3/1 flyer is really good pressure against an Adnaz deck. But at the same time, it's a 3/1 flyer for 3 mana.
Yeah, so the fact that it lets you also kind of ship away a bad card of your own is one of the reasons why I'm kind of behind it. It's hard. It's iffy if we could actually find the slot for it to do it appropriately.
Well, we are technically sitting at 99 cards right now.
Are we? Let me refresh. 99. Okay, so let me make sure. We pulled out Go for the Throat. We put back, so we put in Pongify.
Oh, Winds of Rebuke. We should run Winds of Rebuke now that we have all of our top deck tutors.
Oh, so we can use it as an enabler.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's cute and fun.
I like that more than Vendilion Click right now.
Then we don't have to run Vendilion Click because we couldn't come up with a better card.
Yeah. So the last question is do we look at something like Mystical Tutor?
Oh, yeah. How did I forget about Mystical Tutor?
Because you thought of Winds of Rebuke.
We should have both.
Okay, we'll put that back in.
Let's cut actual counterspell.
But it's a namesake.
Or negate.
I would drop negate. I would drop negate.
Let's drop negate. Yeah, that's a good point. This is a 3-color deck.
Refresh this. We're looking at 100 cards. And we've only added 2 grand to the budget.
Next question. Should we add spell-based rituals?
So that would speed things up. But I'm not a huge fan of them because we don't have a really big way to use that in our command zone. We need 3 additional mana for the Wanderwine Prophets loop, but we need it in different phases. And if I would...
That's a good point.
Yeah. So we need one when it comes into play, we need one in post damage combat steps, and we need one at the end of turn. And I don't like a Cabal Ritual or a Dark Ritual or a Pyretic Ritual for anything like that.
Okay. So then that would possibly answer my other question of, do we want Mana Vault?
I would be more behind Simeon Spirit Guide than a Cabal Ritual, because it gets us that 1 mana for free. It makes it so we just need 2 individual mana sources.
But at the same time, we also need to be able to untap every turn with that mana.
True.
But if, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
My thought is that we're going to have 3 different mana sources much more readily once we're in the loop. Like, my assumption is we're going to be using 3 residual mana sources to get into the loop.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
And if we need to use like a Simeon Spirit Guide to just get us started, I'd be behind that. But I wouldn't necessarily be behind doing the Cabal Ritual route.
Sure. Okay.
And that kind of brings up the Yogg Will question, which if we did spell-based ramp, I would be behind Yogg Will more. Yogg Will does usually just say draw or put 10 cards in your hand, discard them at the end of the turn. I don't think this deck needs Yogg Will, though.
No.
Because especially if it tries to go off with the Yogg Will, we're just kind of screwed anyways. We can use like a Call the Mind to get a reanimation from the grave to hand, then try reanimating. Then if
that's true.
If that works us, then we can try a Time Twister loop again. But
true. It's probably fine.
I'm behind Mana Vault. I would be okay with that to try to get us off the ground, just because it kind of lets us spread it out. But I'm not too sure what all we would be spending that money on the mana on, besides like the front end of a Phyrexian Delver. I'm not too sure we need the Delver, though. That might be something.
I was actually thinking about that just now too. But like, if that's the only thing we're casting with it, is it worth it?
No, I don't think so.
Are there any other medium rocks that we could play? I mean, there's loads of medium rocks we could play.
There's stuff like Cold Steel Heart. It's a kind of play.
Definitely medium.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just play like Mind Stone before that?
Gets us colored mana. I think that we're more colored mana starved than colorless mana starved.
Our combo only takes colorless, though.
Once it's going.
Yeah, that's true.
It's gonna need... So, best case, we're looking at an Entomb into an Animate Dead, which is... Or an Entomb into a Reanimate, which is double black. It's just black. If it's the Animate Dead, it's 1 black. I mean, in that case, I might be behind a Dark Ritual. But that's if we're just looking at Entomb. Our other enablers that we have, let's just go through, look at what our enablers are. Entomb. Frantic Search. That pays for itself, so we don't really care about that usually. opt. No, that doesn't put on the bottom. That puts on the bottom, not in the graveyard. Pulse the grid, which is double blue. Pulse the grid is much more of an end of the turn enabler to me. That's not usually like a main phase enabler that I would consider.
Yeah. Oh, enablers. Intuition.
Oh, yeah.
That should probably replace Pulse of the Grid, honestly.
I'm fine with that.
And Dak Faden. We can play Dak.
We can play Dak at this point.
He's pretty good.
So drop Pulse of the Grid, drop Phyrexian Delver.
Yeah, I like those.
And then we get Intuition
Changes.
and Dak Faden. Does he have a whole thing behind, or is he just Faden?
Nope, just Faden.
All right.
Next question is optimizing the mana base. Do we want to look into any filter lands?
So we don't have Reflecting Pool.
We're not a high tide deck, so we don't necessarily need to maximize on the island type.
Yeah, if we did filters, I would do the blue base filters. And
yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I would probably just do blue-black. And then I would probably drop a red source for that.
That sounds good.
But I'm not too sure which.
Actually, all our red sources make blue and black.
Yeah, so that's where I'm kind of like.
Why don't we cut Arid Mesa for it?
Yeah.
Arid Mesa sucks. I hate that land.
Okay,
so
in this
much.
deck, it sucks just as much as Wooded Foothills. Except Wooded Foothills costs a lot less.
Yeah. And while this is budgetless,
yeah,
green mana is better than white mana.
Which one's the blue-black?
Wooded Foothills wins.
Filter?
Oh,
Is
boy.
it flooded something?
Sunken Ruins?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah.
There we are.
And you did put Mystical Tutor in, right? Okay, cool.
Yep, we got Mystical
I can't
Tutor.
believe I forgot that card.
It happens. So we added Intuition.
There.
We added Sunken Ruins. We added Dak Faden. So here's a question. Instead of doing Time Twister loops with Rakdos Charm, what do you think about a Jace the Mind Sculptor? I think it's a lot faster than Rakdos Charm, and I kind of like the Brainstorm.
Yes.
The question then
that works.
Is it Rakdos Charm or is it Call to Mind?
It's definitely Call to Mind.
Yeah.
Rakdos Charm is so much better.
All right. Yeah,
it hits artifacts. Call to Mind is terrible.
So at that point, what the theoretical loop is at that point is that we Wanderwine Prophets until we can get Jace out. We Jace on the Wanderwine Prophets turns, and then
eventually
we ult each player's. Yeah, we ult each player, and then if we have to ult them again.
Or we just Twister.
If they got 7 cards in hand when we started, then
we Twister then Windfall.
Yeah, true. We Twister, or that we can even pass the turn.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
True.
That'll work.
Okay.
In that case, do we want to switch Rakdos Charm to something else? Like a Fairy Macabre?
I am behind that for sure.
And you know what? I'm pretty sure that's even a wizard. Is it? No, it's a rogue, isn't it? It's a fairy rogue.
Pretty sure it's a fairy rogue.
I don't think fairies had wizards.
No, they do. Pretty sure Spellstar Sprite was. And pretty sure Vendilion Click is. We kind of went over that earlier.
That's a good point. we did.
And good old I think Mistbind Click was. And... yeah, Fairy Rogue is Macabre. So,
all right.
we've added the last question. Would we want a planeswalker that's also an enabler in Liliana of the Veil? Gets us a little bit of control. Gets us some symmetrical discard.
Are there any mediocre enablers left?
I'm just looking through sorceries, just doing a quick check. Looking through instance. Is there anything that sticks out like a sore thumb? I may be biased against Opt. Spell Pierce.
How many cantrips would we be at if we cut Opt?
Brainstorm. Frantic Search.
Frantic Search is not a cantrip.
Yeah, you're right. It's mana ramp.
I think we're only at 3 cantrips without
Careful
Opt.
Study, Ponder, Preordain.
Not a cantrip.
We're at 4 without Opt.
Careful Study is not a cantrip.
Oh, it's an enabler. You're right. So yeah, we're at 3 without Opt.
I guess we're not playing Turbo Xerox. Let's cut Opt, and let's actually add an Ancient Tomb as well, then.
Okay. Chopping Rakdos Signet for Ancient Tomb?
No, cut an island for it.
Okay.
I think 30 lands is still fine. We're at 2.04 in a Reanimator deck. That's pretty good. We may eventually actually come down on lands from 30, but only time will tell.
Yeah. So
okay,
we've got a super solid instant block. We've got. I'm just gonna sort by converted mana cost real quick. So 5/0 drops. 25 1 drops, 21 2 drops, 11 3 drops, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, and 1 10. And in all reality, the 6s and the 10 are never cast. Those are going to be cheated into play. And our Dark Petition costs 5 up front, but gives us 3 back, so it's essentially a 2-ish.
Yeah, it's a 2 that filters.
Yeah. And our Force of Will it's actually a life and a blue card most of the time. So,
all right. This looks pretty good.
Yeah. Are you can be sleeving this guy up? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Well, it may not exactly be this 100 cards. I am going to take this, and I'm actually going to go and tune it a little bit more over the course of the next few days with infiniteimoc, who I've talked about. We had talked about collaborating on the inevitable Inalla Reanimator list.
Yeah.
When we had first been pitching around ideas. So tuning takes time.
Yeah.
He'll probably do some trice games with it, some goldfishes. We'll figure out exactly if everything's working as planned. We'll do our best to refine this. It's probably at most going to be like 5 cards different. Maybe we'll tweak the mana a bit. Maybe like 1 or 2 of the planeswalkers are too slow. Maybe we can identify a better twister loop. Who knows exactly what's going to happen?
Yeah.
But it's going to look pretty similar to this when we record that game coming up soon.
That seems good. So
I'm excited to try this. This looks better than I thought it would, honestly, when we were first seeing Inalla.
Yeah. So Inalla is kind of the one that was just more good stuff Grixis is kind of what it looked like. Kez had some very solid, hey, High Tide looks great. Extra turn spells look great. Inalla just says, build around me in a smart way, and getting to the point where you understand what that smart way is. And in this case, really our smart way is double Snapcasters. We're not really going to be able to abuse a double Dark Confidant, but we could pay 4 mana to instant speed Apprentice Necromancer. I mean, or to give an Apprentice Necromancer haste, which is actually pretty good in not having to slot in like a Lightning Greaves or an Anger to give an Apprentice Necromancer haste. Just saying, all right, this costs 1 more extra mana and I can do this turn is really nice. And having that in the command zone so you don't have to worry about that means a Necromancer is always active.
And one step sweeter, you can pop the first Necromancer for like a Sire or a Djinn,
and then
save the second one to Entomb a Wanderwine Prophets, and then win.
Well, pop the token for
the hasty token one.
Yeah.
You can pull out like protection in the Djinn or the Sire, have everyone discard their hands, and then like protected
doing a
bin a Wanderwine, and then go for a kill.
Yeah, and then we get the really mana intensive double Snapcaster in case you need to like Pact of Negation and then cast Pact of Negation again, and then
and then die on your upkeep.
hey, and, in Tasigur I have paid for 3 Pact triggers on the same turn and still been in the game. This is not the deck. That was
actually one of the reasons.
Definitely not the deck for this.
That was actually one of the reasons why I still had been thinking about staying in, just because it gives you if you have a buttload of mana and you're countering something with a Snapcaster, you can spend 2 more and draw a card.
True.
But it's probably not good enough.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see.
So hopefully we'll see this on a Lag Maniacs video in the future. This looks like a really sweet brew, and I'm glad we did it.
Yeah. This came together quite well, and I am excited to try it out.
And with that, I'm Cameron, and this was Dan. Thank you for joining us on another brew as we pushed Inalla from 500 up to Budgetless. We hope this has been helpful. If you got any comments, let us know.